on the dais and distinguished guests this morning. My experience in life, and I've been on this earth for 50 years, has that been in any program, the most boring part of the program is the chief guest address. So I'm going to actually spare you the agony. For those of you who do not know me, I'm a historian by inclination, I'm a lawyer by training, and I am a politician by profession. So I must confess that I don't have very deep insights into anything, and especially the subject at hand. When I was a very young boy, I wanted to join the military, take up a commission in the Indian Army. And I went to actually sit and take the ND exam. And when my mother found out that I had actually taken that exam, she went hysterical, because poor mother thought that because I was born in 1962. So my mother thought there was a war in 62, there was a war in 65, there was a war in 71. So poor mother thought that there's going to be a war every 4 years, and my son should not join the military. It's a huge risk. But having not been able to join the military, then by that time it was too late to become a doctor. So so when avenues in the military medicine was shut to me, so I decided that the third best thing for me would be to try and run this nation, and that's what I have been doing for the last 25 years. So having said that, I must say that these are very exciting times to be an Indian, and these are very exciting times to be a politician. You could have been a politician or an Indian from 1950 to 1990, where India's GDP growth was about 3.5% per annum. Our population was growing at 2.5% per annum. So effectively for 40 years, India was only growing at 1%. But it's only after 1990s when India started clocking 9.5%, 9%, 7% growth. And our population growth actually dropped from 2.5 to 1.5%. That people like me, we have started dreaming dreams which my father's generation could have never dreamt of, which my grandfather's generation could never have dreamt of. And those are dreams that one day this country, India, would actually take a place in the community of nations, an honorable place in the community of nations. And I must say that in this entire dream, where India's total exports today would be, I'm subject to correction, about $340 or $350 billion per year. And out of those $350 billion exports, about 100 billion would be IT exports. And when I see the IT sector, very young boys and girls, sitting in these back-end offices of either in Gurgaon or Hyderabad or Bangalore or wherever, and very, very young children, in their 20s. And I'm reminded of a very great quotation by one of the greatest prime ministers of England, Winston Churchill, during World War II. The Royal Air Force, they had, because they had to go to war, they had these very, very young boys out of high school, just past their class 12. They were trained to be pilots because the Battle of Britain was looming. And once you were trained as a pilot in the Royal Air Force, you were likely to be killed within 2 weeks of your induction into the Air Force. And that's when Winston Churchill said that never in the history of the world has so much been owed by so many to so few. And similarly, as far as India is concerned, with a population of 1.2 billion people, and we have about, Kalsi Saab, about 10 lakh or 12 lakh or 13 lakh young people working in the IT sector, I can say that never has so many people owed so much to these few people, very, very young boys. And I actually also want to pay my tribute to the school teachers of India, who must have taught these young boys and girls, in some dusty villages of Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh or Haryana or wherever. And so people like me have started dreaming dreams, even though there is an acute sense of embarrassment amongst policy makers like me. 10 days back, we just celebrated India's 71st year of independence. We are currently into the 72nd now. Independence did not come easy. It came with a lot of physical pain of British bullets and batons. There must have been thousands and thousands of young men who must have left their happy homes and smiling children and beautiful wives and green fields so that people of India could live a life of honor and dignity. Somehow those dreams have not been realized. So can I ask all of you sitting here this morning that we need to pool in our resources of intellect, we need to pool in our resources of experience, and somehow try and get India so that India could leapfrog. We could actually leapfrog, and this is what we owe to the people who gave up their life for this nation, and not just people who gave up their lives. There were millions of, you'll have to believe me, when India was partitioned, there were millions and millions of people who had to cross. Every second family living in Punjab has actually emigrated from Pakistan. हजारों मेरे देश की माएँ थी जब पाकिस्तान और हिंदुस्तान की तकसीम हुई, जिनके सिरों से चादरें नोच ली गई, मेरी बेटियां जिनके सिरों से दुपट्टे छीन लिए गए, हमारे बुजुर्ग थे जिनकी जवान सोटियां टूट गई, फिर 15 अगस्त 1947 का सूरज हमने चढ़ते देखा. So we actually owe it to those people who have lost everything. And this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm reminded of a beautiful couplet by one of the greatest poets of the Indian subcontinent, Hon'ble, where he says, "Husne tadbir se जाग उठता है कौमों का नसीब." Husn is beautiful and tadbir is planning. So it's only with good planning. Husn tadbir से जाग उठता है कौमों का नसीब. कभी बदलती अरमानों से, बातें करने से तो तकदीर नहीं बदलेगी. It's only with good planning. And my own feeling is that we sitting here this morning, we are the make or break generation for India. Either India will make it within our lifetime, or India will miss the bus. I'm reminded of another quotation by a great, one of the greatest presidents of America, John F. Kennedy, very youthful, very dynamic president. And if you remember, if anybody can remember his inaugural address when he was sworn in as president of the United States, and he said, every generation of Americans has had to give testimony of their loyalty to America and loyalty to freedom. The world is surrounded with the graves of young men who answered that call. And he says, but very few generations have had the honor of defending America in its hour of maximum danger. And जो लहू से लिखने वाली बात है जो कैनेडी ने बोली, he said, I will not shirk my responsibility, and my generation is not willing to exchange places with any other generation. So ladies and gentlemen, we are the new watchmen on the towers of India. We are not willing to exchange places with any other generation. And this is the make or break generation for India. So I just hope that we can all work very hard in the next decade. Today, our economy is about $2.3 trillion. If we continue to clock 7-8% annual growth, and in the next 10 years, or next 15 years, and I hope I have another 10 years to live, and if we can become a $6 trillion economy, if we can triple our per capita income, I think we will become a meaningful society. And for that, we will have to work very hard. And I'm again reminded, and before I leave, of another couplet by Iqbal, and he says कि हमारा काफिला azmo yaqeen se niklega. With this self-belief, this belief in our own selves, the belief in India, he says हमारा काफिला azmo yaqeen se niklega. मुझे यकीन है रास्ता यहीं से निकलेगा, रास्ता यहीं से निकलेगा। ऐ वतन की मट्टी मुझे एड़ियां रगड़ने दे, मुझे यकीन है चश्मा यहीं से निकलेगा। I think this is IT is something which can leapfrog India, and we can catch up with what is current and what is best in the world. So I'm sorry it should have come in the beginning, but it's coming in the end. I want to thank the Chandigarh chapter and Chandigarh administration for the invite. आपने मेरी बात इतने अदब और सब्र से सुनी. I want to thank you all, even though it had no IT content. वैसे तो मैं गुनाहगार इंसान हूँ, पर मुझे किसी बहुत बड़े आदमी ने बताया कि परमात्मा गुनाहगारों की भी प्रार्थना सुन लेता है. And if it is true, then I would pray that जितने भी आप लोग आए हैं आज इस तकरीब में शामिल हुए, परमात्मा आप सबको खुश रखे, परमात्मा आपकी औलादों को खुश रखे, परमात्मा आपके भाइयों को खुश रखे, परमात्मा आपके माँ बाप को खुश रखे, परमात्मा हिंदुस्तान की हिफाजत करे, और परमात्मा आपको और मेरे को इस धरती माँ की सेवा करने की बुद्धि दे. थैंक यू वेरी मच. मैं आपसे इस बात की माजरत चाहूँगा, माफ़ी चाहता हूँ. I have some other commitments, public commitments. So if everybody can just keep sitting, I would like to just fade away. So no formal goodbyes. I hate formal goodbyes. Thank you very much. Bye.